would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we record this podcast, the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people of the Kulin Nation. We pay our respects to their elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples listening today.
Trigger warning for this episode, we discuss adult themes, body image, diet culture, and it contains some coarse language, so please be aware if you have little ears around.
Hello and welcome to Life Academy. I'm your host, Alicia Bennett, and today my co-host Dina is having some car troubles, so she's running a little late, but we really wanted to get this episode started because we have an incredibly special guest here with us today. I think you guys are going to lose your minds. This is the producer of Dance Academy, the incredible Joanna Werner. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Alicia. It's absolutely delightful to be here. And I'm such a fan of the podcast and I'm so proud of what you and Dina have achieved in making this up from scratch. It's really amazing and I'm thrilled to be part of it.
Thank you so much. It honestly means so much to us that you actually listen to it as well. Because, I mean, we've known you for so long now as well. But
since you were a baby.
We were little babies. And you are phenomenal. You are a mother and a wife and this
not technically a wife, but yeah.
You're a partner. You're a long-time partner. And you are a producer who has produced some of the most incredible shows that Australia has seen in the longest time.
Thank you.
One of them being Dance Academy.
Absolutely.
Which is kind of just like yours and Sam's baby. That's Sam Strauss, the writer of Dance Academy. I think I really want to start, and I think we're going to just jump straight in with all the Dance Academy questions.
Let's do it.
So Dance Academy, how did you and Sam meet? I want an origin story.
Yep.
And how did Dance Academy come to life?
Well, I actually think it's an incredible origin story. So I'm really, I'm proud to tell it. So I've been working my way, and this is obviously from my story. I've heard Sam tell it as well, and it's really lovely to hear
Fun to see both sides. We'll have to get her on.
Yes, definitely. So I had been working my way up to being a producer, and I was associate producer on the first season of H2O Just Add Water.
Such a cool show.
Which is an amazing show. I usually, in the right crowd, I'll get a squeal for that and then even louder squeal for Dance Academy.
Yeah.
So in the right age group, I've done some very core shows.
Yeah, I would say a lot of our listeners have watched H2O along with Dance Academy for sure. Yeah.
And so it was a really hard job. It was a big show, a really awesomely fun show, but a very difficult logistical show. And I'd made really good friends with our casting associate, who was Samantha Strauss, and she was working really hard to cast our mermaids, and I really respected her work ethic. Yeah. And we were at the pre-shoot drinks, and we'd had a few drinks, you know, sort of coming to terms with the tough pre-production we'd just been through, and then we went back to her house and having some more drinks, and it would have been early morning, and she said to me, "What show would you make if you could make any show in the world?" And I said, well, I want to make a show about a girl from the country who gets into the top ballet school and works her way to try to get into the company. And Sam thought I was pulling a leg, and she's like, well, you must be joking because I don't know what you're talking about. And she told me about the show that she had been writing, and she gave me the script for that the next day.
I feel like I get tingles. Like, this is so good.
I get goosebumps every time because it really was this incredible moment because we just were so creatively connected on exactly the same show. We'd never spoken about this before. She grew up in Queensland. I grew up in Victoria, you know.
You want to make the exact same show. You're a producer. She's written it.
Absolutely. And our reference show was My So-Called Life and Felicity.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Like the two of the greatest shows.
That's
and
so good.
So we connected very much on that. And then she gave me her script the next day, and it was just the best script I've ever read. She wasn't she'd never worked as a professional writer before. She had no screenwriting credits, and I'd been working for many years in TV and read hundreds of scripts, and this was the best script I'd ever read. It had so much heart and soul into it.
There. Yeah.
So I optioned the script, which is something you do as a producer, so that you have the right to then try to finance it. And then we started working on it together. And Sam had done so much work, and she was so developed with the characters and the series arc and ideas for all the episodes. Like she'd already done such an incredible job. And then we sort of bid our time. We bided our time till we could pitch it. And so we, in that meantime, I'd produced the second season of H2O, and then The Elephant Princess, which is probably one that people don't know as
Elephant Princess too.
Yes.
I auditioned for Elephant Princess too once upon a time. Yeah,
well,
didn't get it. Obviously,
we should have cast you. And then we presented it to the ABC, and they really loved it. And then we went to ZDF, who are our German broadcasters for H2O, and the distributor, and they loved it. And it's really it's very, very hard to finance a TV show. I've gone on to try to do that a lot, and I've had some success, but lots of times it hasn't worked because it's really hard to do.
Yeah.
And to have the first and only broadcasters you take to your show want to take it is amazing.
Straight away.
And I had this incredible moment where I went to MIPCOM, which is a television market in Cannes in the south of France, and I'd been once before just sort of in observing, and I had one meeting, and it was on the Monday morning at 9:30, and it was between the ABC and ZDF, the German broadcasters, and I took my mum to France with me, and we'd driven from Paris to down France and had a bit of a girls' holiday
Just
about
casual.
it, but it was all
Lovely.
for this 1.5 hour meeting that I had, which is a
gosh.
long way to go.
Yeah.
But I got into the meeting, and they'd already been meeting for half an hour without me, and I hadn't realised. So I got in there and sat down, and they said, okay, we'll take 26.
Oh.
And that means we're financed for 26 episodes. And I'm like, great. And,
Excellent, let's do it.
I ran across the road and called Sam and got a glass of champagne at
my
10 in the
gosh.
morning, and our show was up. And so it was just this incredibly wonderful process. Like, obviously, I'm probably skirting around the hard stuff.
There's a lot of
but
stuff
that's my memory I
involved.
have now. It's a bit like childbirth. You forget
you
the
forget
tough
all the
bits,
hard
and you're
bits.
left with this beautiful baby.
Yeah, it makes so much sense though. And I love that. I love that Sam did so much work on it already. I am so interested to know, because obviously when you pitch things, like you've got your pitch document, right? Who were the actors that you had as all the characters?
Well, let's just say it was a long time ago, but I feel like we only had one really firm, Mia Wasikowska was our Tara.
Oh my gosh, okay.
She was
love that.
16. She was from Canberra. She was a beautiful ballet dancer. I think she'd had one role. She was very much, she hadn't had a breakout role at that stage, certainly nothing overseas. Sam knew her because of her casting days, and she'd seen her tapes.
Right.
She may have had one role, but that happened even after we'd picked this young. So Mia Wasikowska was our vision board for Tara. And by the time we made it, she was too
Way
old,
too
and we
old. Yeah.
found our perfect Tara.
Yeah, well.
But I remember Mia was on the on our pitch deck, and because they were 16-year-olds, we knew that we'd be discovering cast. So we probably had American actors in for the other roles. I don't think we had Australian actors because we didn't know anyone that was a dancer. Sam just happened to know that Mia was a beautiful classical dancer. So they were probably American actors. You would have been, Kat would have been a Disney sassy character actress. Yeah.
So sassy.
Yes.
I love that so much. And then so you would have started the casting process not long after you got greenlit to make it.
Yep.
Where did that start? How did that start? Did you have to find who was going to direct it first? Did you?
Yeah, I feel like that all happened. So very early on, Jeff Walker, he was a child actor from Round the Twist and so many things. When I was late high school, Jeff Walker was the lead in every kids show that was made.
Yeah.
And I knew he directed H2O. So he was a director of 13 episodes of H2O, and that was probably his first and biggest job. And so I feel like Sam, Jeff and I were all babies together and took our big sort of first steps together. And then Jeff pitched to be the setup director on Dance Academy, and Sam and I were like, well, we know you can do it, Jeff, but we look like babies. You look like even more of a baby. We can't all move to Sydney and try to expect people to take us seriously when we look like babies. I'm sorry, you just don't look old enough for the job.
God,
so we're totally ageist. And then he convinced us that he was right, and of course he was.
Of course,
we all baby looking went to Sydney and we made it anyway. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And then with with the casting process, once that started, because it started off all with there had to be multiple
it was the most intensive casting process for any show I've ever done ever.
Very intensive.
It was huge.
Yeah.
At the time, So You Think You Can Dance was on TV, and basically we set up our own So You Think You Can Dance around Australia.
Yeah.
I feel like we started in Brisbane and then came to Melbourne and then to Sydney, and then all the other states had to send tapes in. But essentially I remember we went to a tin shed on a really hot day in Brisbane or the Gold Coast, and we just had hundreds and hundreds of girls and a few boys come through, and we'd have, 20 people every 45 minutes doing a class. And because we knew classical ballet can't be learnt in a hurry, like we knew that our actors, often with a show where there's this particular skill in that's required, you say, well, we're going to pass an actor and teach them to ski, horse ride, do ballet. Do ballet? No, it had to be somebody who could. We thought we're going to have to find a ballet dancer and teach them either not to act, or ideally actually just not to act, just to be. Or we hit the unicorn jackpot.
And you get
an actor who's also a wonderful dancer. Yes. So that was our process. We had hundreds of people come through, and we did a classical class. We'd start at the bar. We just did a really sort of basic class. And we just, Sam's much more proficient and acclaimed dancer than me, but I'd done it for, 17 years since I was 4. I knew what to look for. Terrible ankles myself, but I know what a good ankle looks like.
Right.
And the thing with being a producer is somebody has to be right, and
and enough,
somebody has to pick. So
I remember I don't know if I'd first found out about it before my agents had contacted me, but there was a website that was put up, and it had like the breakdowns of all of the characters. I remember seeing that, and I was like, oh, I am Tara. I was like, I am so tired, because I'd gone through my experience with being at a performing arts school and I didn't have the turnout or the ability.
Like, I remember your audition, and I'm not 31 anymore. I'm 47. So like it's a while ago now. Like I feel like this happened when I was about 30. So your memories, like I have a pretty good memory, but to remember specific days like is rare. But I remember you walking into the audition. It was in Melbourne. I feel like it was over in the West.
Honestly, I don't remember.
And Sam knew who you were, and I knew, but she, being casting, really know who you were. And it's like, we've got to see if Alicia can act. Like she'll have a part in this show. No, if Alicia can dance. Sorry, we knew you could act, but we hadn't seen you dance before, and so it was like. We were trying hard to look at everyone else as well. But I remember, and then Sam and I were like, phew, she can dance.
Oh my gosh, no, honestly, I feel like.
And I remember you were nervous.
I was so nervous.
I know you were nervous.
Because I hadn't danced in the longest time. And I was also, at that point too, I was like, I'd kind of given it up. Like I'd finished dancing even at my normal, just every sort of dance school.
That breaking up with dancing was not meant to be for you,
no.
Alicia.
So it was really interesting. And I remember being in that class because as well, I hadn't been on point in the longest time, and being in the
point's
room.
not fun anytime, let alone if you haven't done it for a while.
But I feel like I ended up doing fouettes on point.
You did a beautiful job, and basically you were cast after that open call. Like we. My gosh. But so often with casting, it's so interesting because sometimes people go through a process and will prove you wrong. And quite often it's like within the first 30 seconds, I know whether someone's
wrong or right.
Wrong or right. And sometimes you just instantly go, yep. And like it doesn't always, like sometimes the process, like you still have to do the process.
Of course.
I would never cast from the first 30 seconds of watching someone.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
But you know pretty quickly if it feels like the character, because by that stage you know the character so well and you have such a vision for them and you know their heart. Yeah. And so it's like it's not that hard sometimes, you know, and
if you find the right person,
hard, But I think I feel like you auditioned for Tara as well. Like
I auditioned for all 3 girls, So
and we didn't do that for many people, so that's a compliment because that means we knew you could do one of them and you were in. We just needed to see where you like.
Oh my God, that feels so nice hearing that right now.
We didn't have a Tara, we didn't know who, and we knew it was such a big role and it required so much from an actor. But I feel like we knew you were Kat.
Wow. I think like.
I'm so sorry Gina's not here because she would have something to say about that.
She was so sure that she was like going for Kat the whole way. But like I have a vivid memory that she was going for both girls the whole way. I think more Abigail and then Kat, but she wanted Kat more. So I think her memory.
Oh, I remember the casting director telling me that DENA wanted Kat, and I'm like, she's Abigail.
I'm sorry, but she was like ballet wise, she was so good. Like you can't.
So good.
There was no one else.
And she was so
Abigail.
dance fit. She'd just come back from doing Alvin Ailey in New York.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about this when DENA gets here as well. But like it was another one. Like you were going to be in this show.
I think like so there was like that big dance cattle call, and then after that. Not in the same day.
And at the end of that dance cattle call, you had to talk.
Yeah, we had to talk.
Because a lot of ballerinas, they can be beautiful ballerinas and exquisite performers and emote something so much through their face. But ballerinas are not taught to speak; they're taught not to speak.
Yeah,
and a lot of ballerina ballet bots who who are very disciplined and do exactly what they're told, to then have a voice as well there were a lot of ballerinas who broke our hearts when they just couldn't speak because ballerinas aren't. That's not what they're
that's not
they're pushed to do.
You're not allowed to you've got to have the discipline.
Do not answer back. Do exactly what you're told. It's tough.
Yeah, and I mean my question was the answer that I had to the question was so perfectly Kat. And I said this recently when we had the thing up at the Actors. My question was if you could climb any mountain in the world, which one would it be? And I was like, I wouldn't. I couldn't be bothered. And it's like,
but it's a silly question, as well. But it was just to see what people come up with.
Absolutely,
and that's perfect.
And it was so perfectly Kat.
Totally,
so perfectly Kat.
Yeah.
I mean, especially once I got the role, I was like, that works really well. When I left, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I said that. Like I've ruined my chances. Why would I say I couldn't be bothered? And then I believe, so after that cattle call, we then had like a big acting sort of cattle call thing as well.
So we narrowed it down, and it was interesting because there were people like you in there who had experience and were actors, and I think a lot of agents would prefer not to go through that process, but we were also trying to discover other dancers that had never acted before. So we wanted everyone to go through this process. Yeah. And to be honest, I've never been on a show since that we've gone to these lengths. I feel like our youth and naivety and just general such sheer excitement that we had got the chance to make the show. We just absolutely did everything to make sure we got it done the right way.
I feel like it did have to be done like that though, because when there are so many dancers, as you said, like they're not actors, like they're performers, but it's not in them to be able to be real in conversation. So I think
then we
it was
had
important.
drama workshops, and in that we did, theatre sport drama games and people in groups, and then started to look at scripts, and then we heard some stuff, some stuff being dialogue.
The scene I remember that I did, and it was majority of the people in there, there was I think it was like the kissing the teddy bear scene.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's right. That was great.
That's my memory.
And so
of
from
it.
that we then chose for our screen tests. And then we started doing the regular screen test, which is where most shows start, which is people come into a room and do a scene with an off-camera reader and the casting director's there. And then the casting director narrows it down to their picks. And they're usually reasonably broad, but when you have a good relationship with the casting director, they know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And so then we get sent the tapes of the selects. We don't watch every single – maybe we did on that show.
Yes, good chance you did.
Yeah, and then we did another round, and you might remember whether there was another round again, but I feel like there was definitely more rounds than I've ever done on any other show.
Well, there was that sort of round, and I'm trying to think if I came in twice or just the first time and did all three girls in one day. Because when I got the call
I might have missed the first round, which was really for you went straight to the second round or something like that. There was definitely like a bigger round where all of the dancers who had never done anything before did a scene, and we culled a lot from there, and then found sort of a core team of, yes, there's some potential here. And we already knew you had the potential, so you might have skipped right to that one.
Maybe,
and then we were starting to work out, well, which role could you be right for?
Yeah, well, I think the first role that I got a proper audition for was Kat, and then it was, I think in the same day I got the call and I got an audition for Tara as well.
Oh, I remember being in the office and talking to Sam Let's just get her to do them all. Let's just see it. We're just gonna
And then it was for Abigail, and I was just like, oh my gosh. Like I remember just the feeling. And when I'd first.
That was probably based on DENA trying to be Kat and like, well, we'll try Alicia at Abigail.
And Abigail too. I was such a, I think when the Kat audition first came through, I was a little disappointed. I was like, oh, I so wanted Tara. And then I started looking at it more and I was like, no. And I went back on that website and I was reading the character and I was like, no, this is cool. Like, this is sick. This is, I really want this. And then the Tara one came through and I was like, yeah, I want that too. And then doing that first round of auditions, I remember there was this gorgeous boy who came in and I was reading across from him. He was auditioning for Ethan. Yeah. And at that point,
every gorgeous boy of that age group auditioned for Ethan's.
He was so gorgeous. He was actually, I think, an ex-boyfriend of Dina's sister. Right. And in the audition, I was like, do I kiss him? Because in the scene, it was the kissing scene.
I can do it.
And I got to kiss him. And I was shaking. I was so nervous. I was like, I get to kiss this beautiful boy in this audition. It was so funny. So that was the Tara audition. But I don't remember the Kat and the Abigail auditions in that round. But I think it was all in the one day.
Yeah.
And I remember meeting or seeing just people from my dance world at those auditions. Yeah. And we were all just chatting.
It must have been a big deal within the dance.
It was huge.
Like within the good dance schools where people are serious about it.
Everyone knew about it. Yeah. And then I think after that was the callbacks. And I think I only had a callback for Kat. And then there was 2 or 3 other girls going for Kat in that very last round of auditions.
Yes, I remember one of them.
Yeah. And so there was, I know Karenina Steska, because she was on So You Think You Can Dance as well.
Yeah.
She ended up playing, what was her character's name?
In a show?
In Dance Academy. Kat Steska, she played Jordan's... Kayla,
that's right.
So Karenina Steska actually ended up getting the role of Kayla, but she was in that last round of auditions along with, there was another beautiful young girl who I think was going for Kat and for Tara.
I think she was from Queensland and she was a self-taught point. Like she was like amazing. She basically was one of those rare people that she basically hadn't done much classical. Oh my God. And her point work was amazing. It was quite, like it was a bit untrained, but it was amazing. Yeah. And it is sad she didn't end up getting any role because she, like every now and then you get sort of wowed by someone, and she was a very talented person.
Oh my goodness. I wonder if she like looks back and or like knows that this podcast exists. Hey, if you listen. And then DENA obviously was going for Kat and Abigail as well. But there was a point where Karenina Steska, this is a little inside goss. Ooh. We'd done the big ballet class where I had to stop the entire class to eat. And then we started doing all of the chemistry reads.
Yes.
And I remember at one point Kat had gone in there and I think you told her in that day, hey, you can go home now, and thank you so much for coming. And she came out to me, she was like, I'm going home, like I'm out of the running. She's like, this is yours. This is totally yours. And I was like, oh, no, like, because there was still DENA and this other girl left. And I was like, oh, nah. But like, she must have known something because,
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I think what we did that day was see everybody and then start looking at combinations.
Yeah.
And so we must have seen Kat in some the real life Kat in combination. Okay, we've seen all the combinations we need. Yeah. But auditioning is a tough world. Like if this was like theatre, it's like, right, you're out, goodbye, you're gone. Like it is tough.
It's a part of it. Like it gets cut down. And I think as actors, like we know you're either going to get the role or you're not.
So you're sort of thinking this is mine to lose, this is mine to lose.
Pretty much, yeah. And I was like, I was so nervous. I so wanted it. I mean, this was my dream job to dance and act at the same time. Yeah. So it was just, I was desperate for it. But at the same time.
Desperate enough that I'll hold the audition to go and have a banana.
Yeah. I can't even enjoy the fact that so I don't know if I've told this story on the podcast before, but essentially what happened was, I mean, on the way to the airport, like I ended up running so late because I forgot my dance bag at home. That's and I was so like, stressful. Mum, did you get my dance bag? And she was like, no, we were halfway to the airport. And then so we had to turn around. We like ran red lights. Anyway, got to the airport
Don't
as
run
the
red lights,
plane.
people.
Don't do it. Got to the airport, got in there as the plane was like boarding, and TJ, Thomas
Imagine
Lacey,
if you
and
lost
Dina.
if you missed that plane.
Oh, Joe,
Poor
I could
little
not. I could
15-year-old
not.
Alicia,
I would have been
so stressed.
I would have been distraught. I was already distraught, but thankfully got there. But that meant that I wasn't able to go and have any breakfast at the airport. And so we kind of got there. We got into Sydney and we got into the dance class.
On, they're not giving you food on those flights anymore.
And even if I did have food on that flight, like I ate a breakfast.
Yeah.
So anyway, we got into the class, we started dancing. And of
As
course,
someone who doesn't miss a meal, I hear you, Alicia.
yes,
Yeah.
right? So I started dancing and I was just like, I feel so sick. Like I'm
Honestly,
gonna vomit
I'm
if I don't eat
so
anything.
glad that you did hold up in that moment and say what you needed, because it was the right thing to do, and you have to look out for yourself, and you weren't able to do it unless, like, honestly, I can't. It didn't make as much an impression on me as it did of you. Like, I can't remember it now thinking, oh, she's terrible or anything like that. I just think good on you. Good on you for standing up for what you needed. You needed that in that moment.
Really
and as somebody
moment.
who's like fainted at inopportune times because I haven't done that, like, you need to look out for yourself.
Well,
so I say well done you.
And it just, again, it kind of ended up being, I think, so perfect where I was like, I know, so
it made
sorry.
a massive
Can we just
impression
stop?
on the rest
Like,
of the cast.
I need to eat something. And I think there was like a bowl of like a granola or
we look after
bars
our
and fruit and stuff.
cast.
Yeah,
of course there was.
Everyone was being taken care of, Joe.
Yes.
So I'd like gone to the side of the studio and was just like eating this banana while everyone's like at the bar, like waiting for me to finish. I was just so mortified. But again, such a cat thing to do where it was like,
absolutely,
I need to eat something. So
I can't be bothered climbing that mountain and I need a banana.
So then, but yeah, by the end of the day and all of those auditions had kind of happened, what do you think is maybe a secret, like maybe not a secret, but what's some behind the scenes thoughts that you guys had as everyone was auditioning?
So there's a few. The first one was that we were terrified that we weren't going to find our Tara.
Yeah.
Because we had done this enormous process and we'd come down. I feel like we only had 2 options there that day. Maybe we had 3, but in my head, probably only 1, and it was Zhenya, but she hadn't quite gotten there yet in the auditions because Tara is the voiceover at the start and end of every episode. It's her journey. We go into the world through her point of view, like such an incredibly pivotal character. And we were very nervous. And the thing with casting is you don't do it months and months before the show's ready. Like quite often it's, we need this decision because we need them in costume tomorrow. So if it didn't work out, there was a lot on the line. And and we at Zhenya and the others who were auditioning had been working with a drama coach, and we'd been getting updates, and there was excitement about Zhenya, but it all came down to was she going to be able to pull it off in this audition, because we can't cast someone without a good audition tape to feel like we're satisfied, let alone then has to be sent to the ABC, to Germany for approvals.
There's so many people in this world that have to approve one.
So you need
each character.
need a killer audition scene. It's not enough for me, particularly then when it was my first show for the company. It's not enough for me to be able to say, I believe that this person will get there. We have to show that they're there. Yeah. That was something that was very scary. And then Zhenya nailed it.
Yeah.
She did a beautiful job. And Sam and I, as soon as she started talking and was doing a great job, Sam and I were holding hands, and we were just so relieved and really excited and relieved. And so we knew that we had a Tara, because I think at that stage we were feeling very confident that we had the other characters. And so that was a fear of ours. But another little one, and I don't know if this is bad to say, but no, I don't think it is, but we had real turmoil about the casting of Sammy because we had 2 of the most beautiful candidates for that role, and to have the gift of Tom Lacey and Thomas
Green.
Thomas Lacey and Tom Green, who were beautiful actors and experienced actors who were also beautiful dancers. And we thought that would be the hardest thing in the world to find, particularly for the boys. Yeah. But in our hearts, we knew that Tom Green was Sammy.
Yeah.
But I just remember saying to Sam, to not cast Thomas Lacey in this show is a crime. Like, we can't do that. You can't have someone that's such a beautiful actor, such a beautiful dancer and looks like him and not put him in this show. That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And we made the tough decision, which was the right one, that Tom Green was our Sammy character, but we knew we were writing a character for Thomas Lacey.
Tom. Yeah.
It still devastated me that we had 26 episodes without Thomas
him.
Lacey, but when he came in, he was beautiful and perfect, and as been in season 2. And it's wonderful for a subsequent series to really have fresh energy and new characters, because you have to grab that audience all over again with the second season.
Yeah.
I remember having tears about that.
Yeah. I really thought, I think after the whole auditioning process, because I'd known TJ as well, I was just like, oh my God, that's like, he's Sammy. He's going to be Sammy. And I was 100%, I thought that he was going to be cast as Sammy. I thought DENA and TJ were all going to be in this first season. We were going to be Abigail, Sammy and Kat.
Yeah.
Well, that was my hope anyway. Not to say that I didn't hope Tom Green didn't get it, but
I think we've got someone. Yay.
Hi guys, I'm here. Sorry.
You got here, you're safe.
I had some car issues, but let's get on with it.
We've just gotten to the point where we were talking about in the audition process how at the end of the final callbacks, I was like, me and DENA and Thomas Lacey, like we're gonna be in the first season all together. Like I can feel it. And then it was Tom Green that got Sammy.
Did you not like Tom Green?
No,
at the
I loved
auditions
him
in City?
so
Is that
much.
the scoop that this podcast
I
was
loved
about?
him.
Me and DENA have had words like this before, but no, I loved Tom Green.
Yeah.
I just really thought that it was going to be TJ.
Yeah.
I think because I'd known him and like our chemistry and
we all knew him.
reads.
We all knew him as like the comp boy as well.
Yeah.
Like he was like
He
winning all
won
the comps.
everything.
He won
I know,
everything.
I had tears that this boy was not in our show. Like, how could you have someone as talented as him and he looked so great, not in our show?
So then you wrote him in.
You wrote him in
we
for
definitely
second
did.
I love
season.
that you had. Did you have that with Keenan as well?
Keenan walked into the audition. We didn't know him.
Oh,
Because he didn't audition for first season.
No.
I
Because he
thought
was,
he
I think,
auditioned
in
No,
like
season
full-time,
2.
wasn't he?
We did the whole cattle call again in season 2. In comes Izzy and Keenan. Didn't know them.
that's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah.
I've got so many questions.
Yay.
But like I don't know what you asked, but I have so
We've
many
basically
questions.
just gone through our
Casting.
The origin story?
and the audition process, and we
Okay.
have touched on a little bit about how you were always Abigail.
Yeah, we were talking about how we know that you, and you've talked about this, that you saw yourself as Kat and were Kat, and I'm just behind the scenes like, she's Abigail.
She's Abigail.
But I have to say with that, Abigail's my favourite character.
I was about to ask you which. I was about to ask which character do you like connect with? Who do
when
you
Sam
see
wanted an
yourself
Abigail line, she'd
Yeah.
come and talk to me.
Nice.
I am
in?
Abigail.
You are Abigail through and through.
Yeah, I wouldn't say the mean part, but the driven part,
Yes.
and the committed part, and the organised part, and the I'm going to schedule my life
Ambitious.
as I'm going for a run, and I'm not going to let anything stop me. Like, that is the teenager that I remember being.
Wow.
I'd like to say I'd chilled out a bit since then,
Yeah.
there are other things.
Well, that brings me perfectly to the next question, because I was wondering on my way here as I was having mum guilt, how do you juggle it all? Like you're a mother and you're this incredible producer, and like,
Thank you.
by the way, congratulations for Newsreader, which is just
Thank you.
won every single award at
everything.
the Actor Awards.
Yay.
So everything you touch turns to gold, and you're so amazing, and you do it as a mother. And can you talk to me a little bit about that juggle?
Yeah, well, I love being a mum so much. I always wanted to be a mum, and I'm so thrilled that it happened for me. I feel like you can take for granted, oh yeah, you're going to be a mum. It has to be the right timing, the right person, all those things. And so that, and there are times where I thought it wasn't going to happen for me. And there was, a lot this industry works very, very hard. And when I grew up in the industry, people didn't talk about their families, and people would almost like pretend that they didn't have kids. And there was a lot of women who didn't have kids, and part of that would have had to be to do with how hard you have to work and the hours that you do in production.
That's what I imagine.
Yeah, it's so I actually you probably know this now, but I was pregnant. So my kids are both IVF, and so I had my first embryo implanted, or whatever you put in, 2 days before the start of pre-production of Dance Academy the movie. And
I remember finding out. We were like, I think
filming in New
just
York.
wrapping, and we were filming in New York, and
so I
said,
was like pregnant throughout, and that was a really tough pre-production.
Oh my
we
gosh,
lost $1 million 2 weeks before we started filming. Like all these things were happening that were so hard, and I was having the worst morning sickness and the worst cramping. Like I remember calling my doctor in tears and just saying, how do people do this? Like how do people work and be pregnant? And said like, well, maybe you just can't work. I'm making a movie.
I'm in New York. I've literally shut down Times Square. Yeah.
And I would do a meditation app under my desk at lunchtimes. But the hardest part with that was that we were doing pre-production in this place. There were no cafes or anything near. So I was and I was living away from home. So I was just in a hotel. So I was completely beholden to the runners bringing food. And sometimes they go, oh, sorry, lunch is going to be an hour late. I'm like, hang on.
I need a cracker.
Lunch is not going to be an hour late. And no, I can't have deli meat. And I can't tell you why. And anyway. So
oh my God.
And I remember when my jeans started to not fit, and I was not telling anyone because I didn't want to tell people before we told my partner's kids. And I wanted to wait until at least 12, maybe 15 weeks just because I was very nervous because IVF success rates are very small. And so there were a lot of things that I, just wanted to keep to myself. Yeah. And I got those extender things for your jeans, and then I'm wearing tops to cover it, and then the pot's growing and I'm on location recce's. And Sam Selstritz said to me, you're walking funny. What's going on? Nothing's going on.
Did she know?
Noticed.
She did at the end. Yeah. I think so. I think her dad, who's a doctor, said, yeah, she's pregnant. And he could tell by
just by the way you were walking.
I was walking. And I wasn't like big or anything at that stage. But
your body starts to change already, like your hips and stuff start to.
And now, do you have any sort of rules around or boundaries like around work and being a mother, like, and the manage? Because you're still obviously like you're in the industry, like this huge producer doing so many amazing things as a woman.
Amazing things.
Like, what are your boundaries around how you manage that with children?
Well, my weekends are mine.
Nice.
I remember when I was a runner on a TV show, a producer on a feature film, when I was starting my career, and a producer was saying, I don't take calls on the weekend. And at that time I was producing short films and just working 24/7. And I will never, like, you can't as a producer not take calls on a weekend. That's crazy. And you absolutely can, and set some boundaries that way. And it's good for everybody. We all need boundaries. And I think the days of working 7 days a week and not giving yourself a rest are done. And I was saying to Alicia before, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint for me now in my career. Like, I've done the sprinting to get started. With Dance Academy, I just started my company to do that, and it was me, and I think I had an assistant, but now I have between 6 and 8 full-time staff doing what I was doing then on Dance Academy. So, and yes, we have more than one show, and so it's bigger, but I would never take on the amount of work that I did on Dance Academy ever again, because it's not sustainable. But sometimes you have to sprint to get started, and so we sprinted very, very hard. And so now, now there are more boundaries, and the weekends are part of it.
Yours.
And my kids are priority. If they need me, I drop everything, and that's just the way it goes. I'm very lucky and well partnered. Paul is a furniture maker, but he is the first responder. He's number one on the list to call at school. The school often would still call the mum first. I'm like, have you tried Paul yet?
Gotcha.
And so that is very, that's
He's
great.
more available in that sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And when we when I had Adelaide. So the movie had just come out, and I remember at the premiere I think she must have been 2 months old or something like that.
She was so little. She was in a little
just
tutu.
Beautiful. And I hadn't sat through a movie without her. And so Heather Mitchell, the beautiful actress, said, I'll hold her. So she held her all through the movie, and then I got a text to go out and feed her halfway through. And so it was just gorgeous.
You're an icon. That's incredible.
And then I had Otto, my second baby, 2 years later, and I got offered to do a show called Clickbait, which is a big American budget, a big show, and I hadn't had American credit before. I was like, I'm going to have to do it. And so Paul and I were like, all right, let's get back into it. And, you know, on the movie I did after the Dance Academy movie when Adelaide was 6 months, I had a cupboard that I would express in, and because there was nowhere else to express. So I had a cupboard, and then I went in one day and the girls in the office had decorated it with pictures of Adelaide and a little rug and a little heater. So I wasn't just sitting in this horrible cupboard.
Yeah, just in a cupboard.
Yeah, so I remember those.
That's
sort of moments.
Gosh, you worked your butt off to have it all.
Yeah. And I think there's the having that's you can't have it all.
No, things are always gonna.
But you can, I've certainly have a full-time career.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say to you, I was just in the bathroom thinking, I just want to thank you so much for the gift of Dance Academy because it changed my life in so many beautiful ways. Like, firstly, Abigail was the role of a lifetime, and nothing else has ever touched that, and I don't know if it ever will.
Never.
And also I made my best friends for life, and it's just it's the job that just keeps on giving. Like, it's just our fans, the following, the sort of cult sort of following that it gained. Like, did you have any idea of the reach that it would eventuate to?
I didn't think about it that far. It was one foot in front of the other. But it didn't if you had have told me then that it would be what it is now, I wouldn't have been surprised. I would have said, of course, you know, it's at least.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Just because the way that it started with Sam and it just being Sam and my dream show, and then everybody who came on to join us as part of the family that made it, it was their dream show as well.
Yeah.
And so it just had this wonderful moment of like-minded people on their dream show wanting to make it work. And so the magic and chemistry of all of that, it really was phenomenal. I hope that I get to, you always hope that you get, once you capture something like that you get to do it again.
Yeah.
It really was a magical experience.
It was
it completely made, me and my career and who I am. And
it made all of our careers
all of us,
and our friendships. That's something I've never had another job, and I mean that we worked on that show for a long time and had the movie, but I've never had another job where I made the lifelong friends that I have from Dance Academy. That to me is just such a gift. And I just wanted to thank you. It's thanks to you, literally, that it exists.
Well, Sam Strauss should be sitting right here beside me.
Yes, and she will one day.
Yeah.
Yes, we've tried to get Sam.
I know. I was saying to Alicia, I wish it could have been the both of us. We would have loved to do it together.
But
we'll get it with Sam all the time.
But you're both so busy too. You're doing so many amazing things.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to ask about, so obviously, you were saying Dance Academy, it was your dream job to create this show. Once your dream came true, what was your next big dream? What was your next dream to create? Because you've created so many different things. You've done more children's television. You've done some incredible stuff with ABC, and you recently did Goolagong, and so many things that are so beautifully produced. What I suppose, how do you decide?
I was
about to ask, how do you
decide what to do?
And
what do you love the most? What do you dream of doing next?
Yeah, no, it's a really good question. I feel like after you've done something as wonderful as we all did on Dance Academy, it's a little bit like when you do a short film and it's so wonderful and afterwards there's a bit of a lull.
Yeah.
And, Dance Academy wasn't a short film.
Down.
That was 5 years.
Yeah.
And that was all of our lives were transformed in that stage, and who we were as people and our family situations and our partners and all of that. My whole life transformed during those 5 years that we were there. And then, it's suddenly over, except I knew that we were going to make a feature film.
Yeah.
Sam needed a break, and which understandable because she had gotten the story told that she wanted to tell. She had got all the characters to exactly the right place that they needed to be at the end of season 3. And all the characters were so beautifully set off into the world. It took a long time, and I'd love to hear this from Sam, to want to tell the next story because they were perfectly in the world where they should be. Yeah.
But you knew there was going to be a film?
Yeah, I wanted there to be.
I
Absolutely.
remember talks at the end of season 3, like people always, you guys were saying like, yeah, we'll do a movie. And there was like all the hope that was like, fingers crossed. But I don't think I ever really like thought, I thought it was just one of those things where it was like, you know.
And normally like to get to 3 seasons is like a miracle.
Yeah.
And this is like these days 3 seasons means maybe you've done, I don't know, three seasons of 10 episodes.
Or 6 episodes,
6
we
episodes.
Had 2 with 26.
We were 2 with 26, and then the final season almost never happened at all.
Yeah,
and I remember being at this meeting, I think it's giving it too much away, but Screen Australia said we won't be funding a 3rd season because you've already, done 2 seasons, you've exceeded the cap or whatever it was. And we couldn't finance it without Screen Australia's money. And Screen Australia, a fantastic supporter, shout out to Screen Australia, supporter of all, so much of television that's made in Australia and absolutely fundamental to Dance Academy. But being told that wasn't going to happen, and we just killed Sammy.
Yeah.
Like, season 2 did not finish with all of the characters out in the world, and I had to fight. This closest I've ever come to crying in a meeting. And like, I'm a grown woman who runs a company, trying to have a professional meeting. I'm just like, we just killed Sammy. We can't do this to the fans around the world. There must be a way. Let's talk. And, how are we going to find a way to finish these character stories? Because you can't do that to the people.
No.
And,
imagine the fans would have.
You just couldn't.
No.
And so the compromise and the way forward that we were able to get to was to make the final season 13 episodes rather than 26.
Yeah.
And so, but we got to do it, and we got to send each of the characters off into the world. We got to the position where Abigail's sitting there getting the offer from the company.
It's one of my favourite scenes.
It's so good.
The teardrop on the contract.
Yes.
Paper.
So
it's like one of my favorite. One of my favorite.
And Tara to come back from what she'd been through,
Yeah.
what everyone had been through with Sammy. It really, we were so proud and thrilled to get to the end of season 3, because that was always our dream, because it was based on the Australian Ballet School where you start in year 10, 11 and 12. It's 3 years and then you get to the company. That was our dream.
That was the story.
To get to 3 seasons. And you never know if you're going to get a second season when you get your first season up. So again, it was one foot in front of each other. How do we get to a second season? We make this season as good as it can possibly be. Yeah. How do I get to a company and having more shows? You make this first show the best it could possibly be. So it's just really focusing on the things that you can control, and that is to make what you have as an opportunity now the best it could possibly be, and hope that further opportunities come after that. So I didn't have any big grand goals of I'm going to do this, we're going to have a massive company or anything like that. It was just I want to make Dance Academy and I want to make it as good as it could possibly be. And it was really after that I had to start to think, what else am I going to do?
Yeah.
And then it was starting to look at developing other shows, and there were a number of things that were sort of looking like happening. You have to have a lot of shows on the go to try to get one up. But I didn't at that stage. It was really just focusing on Dance Academy. So then started to look at other shows, and I optioned a beautiful book from Melina Marchetta, who I just passionately love. And so there was a lot. I was trying so hard to get that up. And then my next show happened to be Ready for This, which was a partnership with Blackfella Films. They had not done teen or youth programming before, and I really wanted to do something that heroed First Nations characters and stories and actors. So we joined together and made Ready for This, which was a beautiful series on the ABC. Then I guess, just the new trajectory just sort of starts.
And where did the movie come into that?
Well, I can't remember, and this is why I probably need to bounce off Sam. In my head, like I always wanted to do a movie, and it was really convincing Sam to want to do it as well. And then she started, and then
the brain, the
Absolutely.
magical brain of Sam Strauss.
She needed to get to the point where she had a story she wanted to tell again for the characters. And so I remember reading the first draft of a script when I was in New York, and I was really, really excited about it. And then it just got better and better. And,
did the characters always go to New York? Was that always in the story?
I think so. Just because that's our dream. Like,
totally.
What can we do
It's every dancer's dream.
It's like,
Film in New
I want
York.
to go to New York. And like the behind the scenes version for us is, what do you want to do? I want to film in New York. That's
I
the dream.
remember that, like reading that, finding out that we were going to shoot in New York. And I was like, this is every dream of mine.
Coming to life.
Coming to life. Like that's ever existed, to
And that's
dance
just the
and
beauty of
film
Dance
in
Academy.
New York City
Yeah.
with my best friends. And I just have the most vivid memory of being in Times Square. I wasn't in the scene. I think you were in the scene, but I just came to watch, and you guys had basically shut down
it
Times
down.
Square. And I was like, is this real life? Like,
And
how
then-
is this happening?
And then all these fans, ballerinas from Brazil, came up and just could not believe that we were there filming, and they were such massive fans of the show. And so to have that sort of moment where
massive reach.
filming in New York, have fans everywhere, and it was.
I
it was
remember,
beautiful.
I'd like get recognized in America all the time and be mind blown about that. I also, before we run out of time, I think we owe it to our listeners.
I hope
we
we're
need
about to ask the same question.
Yeah, we need to touch on Sammy.
Oh, okay. No, I've got another question. So Sammy first.
We need to. Well, should we do Sammy first or should we do Sammy last?
No, let's do Sammy.
Okay. So now, I think a lot of people maybe like would love an insight as to why, and if there's a little backstory onto maybe what was planned first and what it ended up being. I'd love some insight.
Yeah. Well, Dance Academy is a beautiful, aspirational, wish-fulfilling show. And, like talking about going to film in New York, like it's all you, like it is just so aspirational, and you want to be these people and you want to be in this world. But we also want to make sure that the show had real meaning and real impact and spoke to real people's lives and had something to say on a deeper level that would really connect with people. And we wanted it to matter, and we wanted the stories to penetrate, I guess, to mean more and to really, really talk to people about their lives and have a conversation with a young audience that maybe we hadn't had before. So we did start talking about pretty early on, and I'd love to hear Sam's perspective as well, because again, this is like 17 years ago. But from my memory, we were talking about a death, and we'd started to bring it up with the networks, and it was it's a pretty big thing to do for a young
show.
audience, and there was reluctance, so it had to be executed beautifully. And again, Sam did that. We did talk about killing Ben, and that was a possibility. And then
That seems like the more obvious choice.
Yeah. But then Tom Green didn't want to come back for a third season, and we thought, wow, Sammy would actually
Be a massive impact.
impact every single character.
He was the favorite character.
He was so beloved, but he'd done so much as a person. The character, he'd achieved what his journey was almost complete.
Yes. So
the
true.
what he had to challenge with his family
With
and his
his
dad
father.
accepting him and his sexuality and his he was such a beautifully well-rounded character, but also it was a gift because he would just affect every character so much.
And he was also such a fan favorite.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
when it sort of Sam had the idea, it's sort of like, oh, could we do it?
Yeah.
Oh my God, it would just be so devastating. And it was just like, well, it would have it would
The impact.
It would be just and it was about about that his character was just such a beautifully impactful one. Anyway, it was a really, really tough thing to do, but then we got excited about the boldness of the storytelling. Excited is seems like a callous word to use in this way, but
it's
we
not
wanted to take
because-
big swings.
Yeah.
We wanted to tell big stories.
And the fact that, you have Sam as the writer and your ideas together, I think Dance Academy in general, everything is done with such respect to every storyline. And this one in particular, as you said, like you knew it had to be handled in a very specific way because it is a young audience. And I think it wouldn't have had the same impact if it was anyone else except for Sammy. And it was the right choice. And people for sure, like they're devastated by it, but they remember it all the way until, this part of their life.
I mean, I get messages about it every single day of my life.
I remember when it came out on air, like we got death threats. Like we're going to come to the ABC and kill you like you killed Sammy. But then, and it was big impact. And then we heard about primary schools having minute silence for Sammy and the flag at half mast. And it was like, I can't even really think about those episodes now without crying. Like it was wonderful television. Like it was guys, you and all the cast did such a beautiful job. Abigail crying in the shower, and the scene with the Sydney Dance Company, one of my favourite scenes in the whole series.
They're my
the whole 3 seasons because that music was beautiful, that dancing was beautiful, the choreography was amazing, and then that emotion from that scene, like, and then running out to cry in the corridor afterwards, like it was beautiful.
I get shivers thinking about it.
It was,
I do too, but it
really
was handed to me. I mean, that was Sam's writing. Sam's writing.
The writing absolutely was incredible, but you guys and all the cast took it and just to heights that we never expected. And
that,
you did.
The scenes
thank
on
you
the
for
beach.
doing such a wonderful job.
Thank you. The scenes on the beach, like that the memorial, for me, that's like one of the most memorable days of acting of my life because the acting was just so raw and real. And I just remember all of us supporting each other in like how to get to that level of emotion and truth, and
everyone was so respectful and everyone like knew we were there.
We were so to do it. It's one of my like favorite acting moments. Yeah.
I think like throughout that whole period of time, because my little tidbit that I was going to say before was there was actually a lot. I think there was a lot of scenes from each character that we filmed, but so much of it didn't make it into the episode. Like there was a lot of my stuff I know didn't make it into the episode. Kat was like planning, finding out how to plan Sammy's memorial, and she'd gone and she was doing multiple different things and she had her kind of breakdowns and stuff. But I think obviously, I mean, you've got to fit it into like 20
that was the
minutes
hardest
or
thing.
Yeah.
Like we would get to those episodes and that we would have to cut out 17 minutes.
So much.
It was so hard.
I remember that. I remember that because I think there was like multiple, I think like Jordan had more stuff. I think everyone had so much stuff. But if I'm going to be honest, like the right stuff to put in was Abigail's. Like having those scenes, because as well, like what had just happened was they'd kissed. Like you can't
kiss me and then he died.
And not to mention as well, like just your performance. Like I know my performance would have been nowhere near as good.
No,
like,
your performance was extraordinary.
I honestly, I mean, I've never seen it, so I wouldn't know. But I remember doing it, and I didn't feel like I did it justice. So I'm glad that it wasn't.
You did extraordinarily, but it's about your emotional heart and pull, and that's in the edit what we're pulling through. And the setup for Abigail was there.
Perfect.
And we had
it was
to pay
so
it off.
perfect.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
And it was, but I think just in general, like the support that we all had for each other, the bonding that happened at that time as well.
Yes.
It was
and also
very
we just
special.
like loved Tom so much. So the idea of not having him around anymore in real life was devastating.
I remember when his agent said about the option, I'm like, are you sure? Because there's no coming back from this one.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Are you sure?
Yeah. I've got another question that is really from the fans, because I get asked this 5 million times a month. And they really want to know, is there ever going to be a Dance Academy reboot, reunion, Dance Academy, new generation? Anything? Is there anything like that in your mind?
I think there should be.
Wow, Joanna,
this is going to go viral. This is going to be a viral moment. Okay.
People are going to make it happen. They're going to put their own money into this, Joe.
Yeah.
We got funding.
We'll do a GoFundMe.
Awesome. Or just the ABC.
Yeah. Okay, so I love it. That was not a no.
That was not a no.
That was not a no. Yeah.
Well, listen,
Very
I feel like
exciting.
we'd all be keen to somehow get back into it. Even if I was behind the scenes of like choosing
Tom
new
Green,
cast
no
members or
coming
something.
back.
Tom Green's not coming back, but I would be a great Miss Rain. Abigail, like becoming the next Miss Rain.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, iconic.
Iconic.
Well, I'm so sad I missed the start of this, but I'm so glad I made the end of it.
It's been so lovely to talk to you both. And I was saying to Alicia, I'm so proud of you guys for this podcast. And I think I'm allowed to say that because I feel like when we were doing Dance Academy, Sam and I would call you the kids. You were our kids. And I still feel, and I was always so proud of the work that you did on that show. And I love the podcast and you're doing such a great job. And I'm so thrilled that people
so
are
much to us.
tuning in, and they should. You guys are fantastic.
Thank you. Well, we wouldn't
done.
have Life Academy without Dance Academy. So we have you to
And
thank.
we wouldn't have Dance Academy without both of you. So thank you.
And we really wouldn't have it without you and Sam.
Thank you so much. But before you go, we
Yes.
love to ask all our guests for a recommendation or dream work, as we like to call it. We can start first. if
Yeah,
you don't have
please.
one.
Go for it. I'd love to.
Okay. Go for it. You
Right.
go.
So I've always been really terrified of the dentist. But what I've been doing as a proper grown-up now, I've actually been going every 6 months
Oh
and
my
I'm getting
God.
my clean and my checkup. And I have to say, like, not as scary as it used to be at all.
Yay.
Go to the dentist.
That's your
Because-
weirdest homework,
I
dream
know,
work you've
but
ever
no,
given.
listen, because getting that clean,
Nah,
I left.
listen.
Nah. Because no, when I
The
left, I
clean
was like,
feels amazing when you do
oh
that.
God, it felt good. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
just like, oh, it
You've always
feels
had
really,
amazing teeth too, so I'm glad you're looking after
Thank
them.
you. Yeah, honestly, there was a good like 5-year or longer gap that I like didn't go to the dentist because I was terrified. I was like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
go there and I'm gonna need fillings and I went there and I was like, oh no, I don't. Okay, I just like had this thing in my head. I think because honestly, when I was a kid, I reckon the dentist was just like, yeah, let's just check a filling and just because we can. There looks like there might be a hole there one day.
They did a lot of that.
I reckon they did a lot of that. So, you're scarred as a kid, but as an adult, like, you take care of your teeth and you should take care
There's
of your
some
teeth.
bougie dentists. I went to one in Queensland where they had a TV,
TV
on
up
the roof and
there.
you could watch Netflix while you were getting your
Yeah.
teeth
Yeah,
cleaned.
there are some really good options, and I know it can be really scary because I get in that chair and my heart starts racing. But then I'm just like, no, that's actually fine, and like nothing hurts. So
I'm so proud that you had time to go to the dentist when you don't have time to wash your hair. So I'm just like proud of you for self-caring.
well, I'd rather go to the dentist now rather than having like a root canal in 3 years'
I was
time.
about to say I've
because
had a root canal. It's not a vibe.
No, not a vibe.
No.
I didn't
want
go to the
avoid-
dentist through the whole production of Dance Academy because I didn't have time. And by the time I finally went, my root canal exploded with pus in the dentist's face.
Hot.
So
Hot girl shit.
Hot girl shit. So guys, it's a bit of it feels more homeworky than dreamworky because it is a little bit shit, but go to the dentist.
Love it, Leash.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. I've actually got 2 recs.
Love it.
Quick ones. First, found an amazing new TV series that I'm loving.
What's it called?
And it's appropriate as we have our star producer here. It's called Imperfect Women.
oh,
Have you
I haven't
seen
seen
it?
it, but I would like to.
I'm only 3 episodes in, but it's so good. It's on Apple TV.
okay. You do a lot of Apple TV stuff.
Well, like Shrinking, Ted Lasso,
Yeah.
all my favorite
They're all
shows
your
are on
jam.
Apple.
Yep.
I feel like the quality of Apple television is like
Good.
really good.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so I'm loving that. And one of the leads in it is, and I've just forgotten her name, but Handmaid's Tale,
Elizabeth Moss.
Elizabeth, of course.
Mhm.
Elizabeth Moss is in it. So anything she does, I'm like, yep, because she's one of my favorite actresses. So that, and then this is just another like quick and easy little cheap one. But I don't know, have you guys discovered chocolate coconut water yet?
Yeah. I'm not a
am-
fan. I know you are though, obviously.
I am addicted. It's become a problem, and it's not keto. And I'm I'm on a keto diet for inflammation and PMDD. So it's my little treat.
Yeah.
It's my little treat.
Little
But
treaty.
I actually had one on the way here, and I was like, this is maybe the most delicious, refreshing thing in the whole world. If
not
you
that
haven't tried chocolate coconut water, give it a try. That's all I'm going to say.
It's not that great.
It's amazing.
It's not that great.
Do you really not like it?
I don't not like, but it's not like,
To me, it's like,
give me a
this
chocolate
is
milk.
the best thing. Yeah, but I would never drink chocolate milk. So to me, it's like the healthy version of chocolate milk.
But it doesn't taste good.
It tastes like healthy goodness.
Exactly.
This is why I have Rex and you go to the
sorry,
dentist.
I will not. Yeah. My bad. I will actually. I won't.
Don't yuck my yum.
Yeah, I'm not. So, won't yuck your yum. My apologies, guys. Try
it. And,
coconut chocolate water.
The Cocobella one is particularly good, and get it like icy cold. Anyway, that's my rec.
People will hate me for saying that. I promise you. I know so many people love it, so I'll be ripped. Anyway. Joe.
My shout out is for audiobooks. I mix up podcasts with audiobooks. I am an obsessive reader, and it's probably why I'm in the industry, because when I was a teenager, I just devoured books, YA particularly, but just like love books. And one of the sad things that I've had to come to terms with as a very busy person is that books are really hard. And also if I get any reading time, I should be reading scripts because there's this huge pile that
actors
I should need
have
to be
the
reading.
same problem.
So I, about a year ago, started to embrace audiobooks. And I have got through so many because I don't have time, but I do drive places a lot.
Yes.
And I put clothes away. And so when I'm not listening to your podcast, audiobooks are my thing. And I just wanted to shout out a couple of my favorite ones that I've listened to recently.
What platform do you
I
use?
do it on Audible.
Audible? Okay.
So Flesh by David Sasley, it won the Booker Prize this year. And normally I think those books are too highbrow and I stay away from. But this book is incredible and has stayed with me so much. So it's called Flesh.
Nice.
Heart the Lover, I loved, by Lily King. I did Scar Tissue by Anthony Kiedis.
I've read that. Great book. Oh my God, juicy.
Margot's Money Troubles, which is coming out as a show soon, starring Elle Fanning, is an excellent book. Half His Age by Janet McCarthy, who
yes, she wrote another book.
Yes, and her other book was fantastic. And at the moment, I realised that there's so many of the books in the world I want to get through in my lifetime, and I realised there's lots of classics I haven't read. So I'm currently doing Anna Karenina.
Have you done Wuthering Heights yet?
I've read that in my teens.
Okay.
So, but Anna Karenina I've never done. It's 28-hour audiobook. I've only got 14 hours to go.
Wow.
And
that was every girl's demi character solo at dance competitions. Anna Karenina, because I think
Wow.
I don't want to ruin it for you. I feel like someone's beheaded or something happens like that.
I feel like some shit's going down.
Yeah.
I feel like it's coming.
Yeah.
I just remember it being everyone's demi character solo, and then I was like the snake charmer because
you could bend your legs.
I was about to say because those legs. Yeah.
Amazing. Well.
Oh, we have to wrap this up, which I'm devastated about. Guys, like why did my car have to break down on
today
the
of
most
all days?
Exciting day of all day?
But
anyway,
we are so glad at least our wonderful listeners will have the whole experience. And Joe, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks
we
for
know that you're
having
a busy woman, but we're so grateful and so grateful to you for everything.
Everything. We love you so much. And thank you so much for coming onto the Life Academy studio.
Absolute pleasure.
Yay.
The
All right,
bell's
guys.
about to
Bell's about to ring. Bye.